The mad people are taking over the world. It's quite evident. And thanks to the internet primarily, and the kind of like a backwards way of thinking that is associated with the internet. You know, when I say backwards way of thinking, I mean that when something is appalling and abhorrent, it's probably going to get more people viewing it because they're interested in the controversy, and there's going to be more people commenting upon it, and it'll get much more in the way of exposure. And that's basically the way that the internet seems to essentially work. I mean, it's good that there's a wide variety of different ideas out there, but the very fact that important ideas such as those of evolution are being disbelieved in these days shows that more insane ideas such as creationism, and instead of creationism being seen as being like something mythical or mystical to assist people in their belief in God, it's being seen as being like a hard and fast scientific fact. You know, these things are really rather scary. But it's not just in terms of things such as evolution, okay? It's not just that stark and black and white. The more insane ideas are growing and developing. Well, when I came onto the internet, especially onto YouTube first time, because I finally had good broadband and I could do it, it was a weird experience for me. I mean, personally, I came on purely with a point of view of telling the world about me and the things that I think, okay? And then something else inside me just really had to come to the surface, this real deep felt want, basically. And that was to speak about some of the damage which I'd seen being done to people and by people within the New Age movement, which was abhorrent. And that kind of like dominated the channel for a little while. There was this brief period of drama until I recanted. But the argument that I had at the time is basically still with me. You know, mad people develop power and influence, and because of that, the world is becoming a much more dangerous place. But it's not just a question of the mad people in the New Age movement. It's not just a question of people evangelizing hard for their one particular faith or their own interpretation of a faith. But there's also extreme insanity within the atheist movement. There's extreme insanity in the conservative movement, in the liberal movement, in the libertarian movements. All over the place, we just got these insane ideas, and people are coming to YouTube, so it seems, for the purposes of getting like a hard and fast education or a hard and fast reliable source of information. And as a result of that, it's like the fear, the paranoia, the superstition, that's what's taking over, and thought is being pushed to the back burner. You know, we've got this thing on the internet called the League of Reason, which is hilarious because the people in it are pretty damn illogical and irrational. Sure, they might be promoting science, but essentially they're also using very dishonest tactics when dealing with any other issue. So we got to see this as being a political group, and they're not an educational group, because that's essentially the way that things are. People are political. People want to get their own political messages out. During the recent spat between Ujamaa Flipper and D-Land and Cole, Ujamaa Flipper pointed out that because of D-Land and Cole's position, his job, what he does, he can't be seen as being a normal or an ordinary vlogger, which is absolutely correct, but neither can Ujamaa Flipper. Neither can I, for instance. I've got an agenda. Alright? I don't want mad people to take over in the New Age movements. I don't want mad people to take over in the secular movements. I don't want mad people to take over in the atheist movements. I want there to be a middle ground. I want there to be another point of view. Now, the fact is that during my time here, which has only been a couple of years, and it's not that big, okay, my channel has not been the most controversial channel on the face of the planet, so I've not received like millions and millions of hits, alright? But during my time here, I have had people leaving comments and sending me messages saying, man, you've really helped me with this. Alright, you've really helped me to develop a much better point of view. And that made my heart glad that I could reach out and I could touch like one or two people's lives here and there. I mean, as far as the the supernaturalist or the New Age side of things is concerned, whenever you're in those circles, whenever you're dealing with people who are New Agers or supernaturalists or pagans or occultists, you're always going to get people who are going to come out with fear or literalism and extreme paranoia, saying you must do this, you must believe this, you must be afraid of my interpretation of what God is. You have to do as I tell you, because you are inferior, I am superior. All that kind of shit goes on in the New Age world, alright? It just does. But all of that kind of shit, which is essentially bullying, it's brainwashing, alright? It's very undesirable behavior. That goes on full stop across the board. Now, there's certain ways in which things happen within religious or supernaturalist societies. Yeah, that's true. But does that mean to say that religion is essentially wrong or spiritualism is essentially wrong? Certainly not. Alright? Because that kind of thing still goes on, but it goes on within the atheist community. It goes on within the scientific communities here on YouTube. It goes on all of the damn time. And it is wrong because it is totally insane. Alright? A touch of skepticism can be useful, but there's even a body of people who call themselves skeptics who aren't skeptics. They are there to act politically, to deride anything which disagrees with what they regard as being appropriate. And what they regard as being appropriate, in accordance with other forms of scientific research which I have brought out, to my subscribers, and I have pointed out, okay, is actually against science. They're just trying to control society. When we think about Thunderfoot, I'm appalled and I am shocked that people say that they watch Thunderfoot because he makes them think. Well, why in the name of all that's holy can't these people think for themselves? And when they are listening to Thunderfoot, precisely what is Thunderfoot making them think, for crying out loud? These are real questions, alright? These are important questions that really should be asked. Now, it's good that there's different points of view out here on the internet. But do we really want to be in a world whereby it's those which are most aggressively expressed, or those which are more passionate, or those which are more controversial, get more attention and become more part of the public eye and part of the public arena, than those which are possibly more intelligent or more useful or more relevant, or which could help people in a deeper way? It's just the mad ideas which are coming to the fore. And because of that, politics is going to go to the far right, religion is going to go to the extreme conservative, or indeed, the more terroristic type activities are going to happen more. People are going to get much more insane about everything, and people have got to start realizing that if they put their politics aside, then they could end up becoming much more literally with the world, much more a part of their own communities, much more a part of the global community. And there could be more in a way of cross-ideological support, rather than saying, I'm part of this group, you're part of that group. When basically, total unity under a label doesn't really exist. I mean, if you just look at the atheist community, there's different ideologies within the atheist community, aren't there? Of course, there's the Condalites, and there's the Thunderfootites, then there's the Coughlinites, and all these people, they're fighting each other. It's even more complex and more nuanced than that. And some people just using the letter A, or like the symbol of a planet, as if to say, I am superior to you. It's all the same rubbish, alright? It's seriously all the same stuff. It's bullying, it's aggression, it's politics, and it's being taken to the extremes. So one of the things that I'm trying to do here, I mean, I'm not a normal vlogger as well, just like D-Land and Cole, just like Ujama Flipper, I'm just not a normal vlogger, because there's no such thing as a normal vlogger. We're all here because we want something for the world, we want something for other people. And yes, in a small way, I've been able to reach out and touch a few people's lives. I've been able to help them to try and see things in a bit of perspective, so that they don't get terrified of something which is like a carved bit of wood somewhere in their flat, or because they had a dream about someone. It doesn't necessarily mean to say that their boyfriend or girlfriend is spying upon them using remote viewing from the other side of the planet. Alright, we take these concerns and throw them away. The bottom line is we are just humans. At the core of every single one of these more passionate video logs, there's the same thing. Namely, I want the right thing to happen for other people. But when these extremist ideas get out there, then essentially the wrong things happen. People start being terrified of Planet X. People are afraid of the New World Order. Things that don't exist. And yet there are things which do exist, which I have actually demonstrated here on this channel, and I've shown you, some of the scientific studies which can help you to think about life in a different way, and has demonstrated there are some things which do exist, which some people say don't exist. So this is why we need to have a more down-to-earth stance. We can't just get too wound up and head up about one singular thing and think that one singular thing is going to change the world, because these one singular things don't change the world. There's 9 billion people in the world. We don't all think the same. We don't all have the same needs. And to try and take away from people what their needs really are can in fact be really rather negative and undesirable. We have to go towards the moderate level. We have to go towards the middle ground level. We have to have a certain quantity of skepticism, but not to treat skepticism as if it is a political thing in its own right. Sometimes self-doubt and self-criticism can be a good thing. Alright, there are people out there who want to encourage you to be a believer, believe this, believe that. Why do they want you to do that? Because they want to turn you into someone who is a political puppet for their own cause. And they'll try and use things such as loyalty to, the atheist cause, or loyalty to the secularist cause, or loyalty to the anti-theist cause, or loyalty to the pagan cause, in order to try and make you do as you are damn well told. To take away from you the ability to be able to think rationally for yourself, to go out on the internet and to research other possibilities, to look out for anything else which might provide another way of looking at life. These black and white things which you are being shown, okay, these stark images of it's just religion and just science, or it's just paganism versus Christianity, or it's just Christianity against everything else, or it's just Islam against reason, or whatever the heck it is. They're all lies. They're all being put there to try and make sure that you do as you are damn well told. It's putting the insanity back into the equation and not taking the insanity out of the equation. And now I know, maybe I'm getting as bad as everybody else because I'm getting very passionate about promoting something which is essentially a middle ground way of looking at life. And yes, there is a great feeling of anxiety which can come over people when they realize that things aren't quite that clear-cut, that things aren't quite that singular, because humans are tribal creatures. They like to gather around their totem poles. They like to worship and adore the signs or the labels which they follow. But real life is not quite that simple. And if you do just try and defend your religion, or try and defend your atheism, or try and defend your conservatism, then you've got the capacity to essentially start doing people real harm. Just like when I was, going through the New Age movement when I was younger, and I saw people trying to terrify other people into beliefs that were stupid. And yes, I saw that in the churches as well, and I saw that all over the place. And now I'm seeing it in atheism. Think, okay? There's more than two sides to every story.